Entertainment Network.
Iron Reese. The talk is still real. We still on the corner. We gonna touch on some topics.
SKN, we got topics. Let's have a discussion. The people got questions. The people want answers. Yeah, we got topics. Let's have a discussion. The people got questions. The people want answers. Yeah, it's real talking. It's real talk. It's real talking. It's real talk. It's real talking. Real talk. It's real talking. Real talking.
Iron Reese. The talk is still real. We still on the corner. We gonna touch on some topics.
It's real talking. It's real talk. It's real talking. It's real talk. It's real talking. Real talk. It's real talking. Real talking.
Check it out, you know, in tune.
Darkles, come on, my
Check it out, you know, in tune indeed. Right?
Darkles.
Yeah.
Hey. Oh man.
What if I do, brother?
Boy, vibes there. Good to be back, you know.
Yeah, man, been gone for a little while. Had some stuff we had to take care of, so we had
A
to handle
little
that first
while,
and then
but
come back, you know.
a little
A
while.
little
It's
while.
been a long while. It's
A
been a
little while,
long
man.
while.
You know what I mean?
But it's about almost a month. It's almost been a
Almost
month.
doesn't count, you know.
It's almost been a month. A good month or so.
Yeah, almost don't count, man. But, you know, other than that, man, what's up? How you been?
But I can just give thanks, you know. I can just give thanks. You know, I got me challenges that I dealing with, but I can just give thanks all the time, every time, all the while, and
You
stuff.
know, like, if you got challenges, you know, you just can't let the challenges beat us, you know. So you just got to hold firm and hold steady.
Yeah, man. Standing firm, you know. Hold strong.
That's
What about you?
Because, man, I cool and I'm a living legend and I live my life every day as a living legend. So I
Uh,
I live one of the greatest lives ever. You know. So and I plan to hire a camera crew eventually to follow me around, you know, because the things that I do and I see daily that I need people to see with me. But until then, you know, I keep enjoying the life that I live.
you have to. You have to. You have
Definitely.
to. If it's one thing we
Definitely.
have to do is enjoy the life that we live,
Yeah,
right?
my time on earth is going to be it's going to be well spent. You know, I ain't got no time to be up and down the place where I kind of foolishness. I want to enjoy the life that I live. So that's my intent.
Powerful, powerful, powerful. So this is our first show with the time change. Time has
Yes,
changed, right? Yeah.
yes. You know, and as we know, because of the time change as well, we're going to have the show a little shorter. So we'll
Mm-hmm.
be running for an hour, and then once we finish, then you have the topics coming out right after us, and
Yeah.
they'll be running for about an hour and a half to 2 hours. With all the topics that you want to pick up on.
Yeah. All the juicy stuff. You know what I mean? Um, of course, if Real Talk Corner has a guest, then Real Talk Corner is going to go the full 2 hours, and the topics will be maybe 2 hours. Good evening.
Good
Good
evening. Good
evening.
evening.
Thanks for being our first commenter.
Yeah,
Well,
man.
let me change that. It's on the wrong one. But Reese, let's kind of talk about what we have tonight, right? We
Well,
have a
the way that
special
we're gonna start tonight off with Proverbs 18 verse 21. Right. So we're gonna start with a little bit of Bible, and it states,
Proverbs.
Yes, Proverbs 18, verse 21. It states, death and life are in the power of the tongue, and
Mm,
those who love it and indulge it will eat its fruit and bear the consequences of their words.
mm.
Art imitates life, life imitates
Life
art.
imitates art. Okay. Powerful.
Right?
Powerful. 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 Of
So
course, we're gonna have to go through some examples of that. And let's see
definitely.
if it's just is it just coincidence or is it really something? Personally, there's some language that I try to consciously remove
Not choose.
from my yeah, like you know when somebody say, "Oh, I love this person to death." Nah, me not believe in that. Me not believe in loving nobody to death. When I love somebody, I love them to life and live. You know, um, just that kind of thing that I like. Nothing gonna make me laugh and say, "Oh, by by kill me." Nope. No, 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 no. I am not saying that either. You know what I mean?
Agreed.
And then it's just in our culture to incorporate like death in our speech, right?
So frequently.
So frequently,
So frequently and not thinking about it, not realizing
yeah,
how powerful the words that we use are.
yeah,
And unfortunately today we'll be going through some examples where we'll be seeing that, speaking of death, and we end up
yeah,
getting some individuals.
yeah, yeah. It's wild, and it's not only death. It's other things we could point out too. Like sometimes somebody got a headache and they say, "By the headache, I kill them." Not me. Not me. I am not saying that. Not, no, not me. I don't. I don't make them jokes because I'm not inviting that. I'm not inviting that. I ain't calling that force at all.
You try not to open yourself to that type of energy. But with that being said,
Mm.
unfortunately, some individuals within society don't realize or really don't care of the powerful nature of their words.
I don't believe it. You know. Sticks and stones may break my bones, but words can never hurt me. Yet still spells. In Christian society they call it praise. These kind of things are words, right? And your emotion and your living being, you're putting your living being into all of these things, right? So that's where we're getting into art. Like art with art, these artists tend to put their living being into their work, right? And
Yes,
because they put that living being into their work, you find that their life ends up imitating the art. Of course, there's clear examples of where art is imitated by life because most times art comes from what's going on in society, right? So that is straightforward, but I think the more powerful part is the latter of the topic, which is life imitates art. Crazy, wild. All right, Reese, you want to get into it? Good
yeah.
night,
Well,
Iona.
good night to everybody. Yeah, who tuned in. So as we get into it, we'll actually use one of the first examples, which is
Mm-hmm.
actually an artist who said "Ready to Die."
Ooh.
That would have been the Notorious B.I.G. first album was titled "Ready to Die," and
Mm.
as we know, he subsequently died after releasing his first album. Did not make it to
Wow.
releasing a second album alive. Now, ironically, his second
Yeah.
album was called Life After That.
Life after that. Yeah.
So his first album says that he's ready to die. His second album is named Life After That, and of course, he didn't make it to his second album. He really made it to Life After That. So
Right.
when you look at life imitating art, are we willing to say that the Notorious B.I.G. went as far as predicting his own death and then lived the life that he raps about? I
Mm.
think so.
Mm. Hmm. Powerful. And Kejel, yeah, don't knock on no word anyway. But yeah, yeah, he said he was ready to die, right? The music also, he had a, I don't remember this song, you know. Yes, they often sang about their death. Him and Tupac, because Tupac is the other one, and Tupac one is crazy to the point where people don't even feel like Tupac is dead because of some of the things that he said in his song and the way that he died. Um, Actually mimicked, you know, his art and his the way how he depicted his death would be. But with the Notorious B.I.G., you know, he has a song, "When I Die, I Wanna Go to," you know what I mean? You know that song there, right? Like,
Definitely,
that thing about it's just
definitely.
so easily, right? Just so easily. And then, you know, Tupac talked about the 7 Day Theory with Machiavelli. He came back as
Machiavelli.
Machiavelli. A lot of people felt like, yeah, you know, this is what that is. But he also spoke about going out in a blaze of glory, as
A
you
blaze of
know,
glory.
they call it, you know. And
Um,
it's just powerful how you could see these things transform, you know. I want to give an example. A lot of people would have watched Sanford and Sons, Red Fox.
mhm,
You know
mhm.
what I mean? And Red Fox, I was always having the big one. He was like always having the big one. No, this is the big
Very
one. You
true.
know, this is the big one, and this is the big one.
Very
And
true.
that was him mimicking a heart attack. You know, in his art form, it was him saying he's having a heart attack, a big heart attack, and this heart attack is taking his life. And if the audience is paying attention to what we're talking about right now, I bet anybody could guess what Red Fox died from. You know what I mean? Um, Straight and forward. You know, he died from myocardial infarction, heart attack. The man died from a heart attack at 68 after all the
All these
scenes
years
of, yeah, you couldn't watch an episode of Sanford and Son without
having
Red
a big one,
Fox. Yeah, yeah,
having a big one.
yeah. John Elroy Sanford, by the way, but Red Fox having a big one. It couldn't happen. So then he ends up dying from a heart attack. What is that? Is that art imitating life? Life imitating art, I must say? Or is it a coincidence? That ain't a coincidence.
I don't think it's a coincidence. I wouldn't say it's a coincidence. I think
That ain't a
the
coincidence.
the, the doors were open to certain things, and that's what it was. You know, but anyway, let's. You have another example because I have another example where I look at certain things and you know,
Go ahead with your
and
example.
it's not only necessarily death. Eh? That's what I need
No,
people to
no.
understand.
Well,
And one of the things that
if you want to move
one of
off
the
of
things
that,
that you realize.
I
No,
just
we
want
not.
to jump in some more, right? Like Heat
No, yeah,
Ledger and them and
yeah,
Heat
yeah, yeah.
Ledger
No, definitely.
profound. Yeah. But go ahead.
No, definitely. But one of the other things that we realized too is some individuals would take certain names, right? And take names of individuals that may have passed on before, or legends from before. And
Mm-hmm.
one of the things you'll notice if you ever paid attention to the history of 50 Cent is that there was a 50 Cent before Curtis.
Was there?
50, that 50 Cent went out also in a hail of gunfire. And then we see Curtis Jackson, who is now the 50 Cent that we are now for power, who ended up taking 9 bullets but survived. So when we look at life imitating art, it's not just that, but it's also some of the names that we choose.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the names that we choose and some of the stuff associated with certain things that turn around and
Mm-hmm.
come. Just by certain simple actions. You know, so you have that. I'll give you another one that some people may not even realize and may not even know of. Ever, you remember, Raging King?
Yeah, I was just googling Raging King, right? Like legitly, I hear looking at Raging King because I know. Go ahead, go into it.
You know that there was a raging king before the
Yeah,
dancehall artist,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
that raging king was a quote unquote gangster who
Youngster, yeah,
ended up going out in a hail of gun bullets as well. Hail of bullets as well.
yeah,
Just like raging king also had an attempt at his life that now has him wheelchair bound.
yeah. I was legitly looking at Raging King as we speak. It's
So I
crazy.
think I think there are certain things tied to certain actions, certain names, certain things that we do in life that they just as some people say, got dopey on them.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah, yeah. I mean, if you wanna take this into perspective, like when I decided, you know, not when I decided, but when I knew I was having a son, one of the most important thing for me was to find names with meaning, that I feel like would be substantial and powerful. You know what I mean? And a lot of the times it's easy. It's fun for people because they combine names of maybe the two parents, or they name them after somebody, or whatever the case is. But I wanted my son to have his own identity, as well as I wanted him. Like we identify by our names, right?
yeah,
It's not
very true.
necessarily that we are our names, but we identify by our names. So I would say Reese, and then you look up, that invokes a reaction from your being, right? You're being called Reese doesn't mean that you're Reese, but you're being called Reese. So I also wanted that, where when somebody call or summon my son, that that name has a powerful meaning behind it. And that's like the same thing. It's more of, I just believe in these kind of things. And some people might say, oh man, these man way off today, they're like far off the edge. But hey, you have more examples you want to shoot out on them?
Yeah, well, we keep going because I think even when you look at life and art and life, you would even see something as simple as certain tattoos that people have,
Mm-hmm.
right? We have a tendency of having, it's a thing. I mean, people have tattoos, and certain tattoos that individuals how they have you'll say satanic meanings,
Mm-hmm.
demonic meanings, or things of that nature. And
Mm-hmm.
then some people will tell you, oh, this happened to me after I get this, and after I do this. But sometimes it's the spirit that we allow to come on us. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You have a tattoo, sorry, of for example, a upside down cross,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
which has been associated with devil worship. And then
yeah.
certain things start to happen, and then you say, "Oh, somebody put Obi on me, somebody put him." But sometimes we invite these energies into our life,
Mm.
So there's some symbolisms that we use, that we have daily around us, that we adapt, and we might just like how they look, not going to find out what the meaning of certain things are. And then when you find out what the meanings are, it's too late.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of things that have been incorporated into our everyday life, right? And big up Reese with the real talk kind of cup. But there's a lot of things that has been incorporated to our everyday life that we don't even question, right? Let's look at some examples. Here we go. Christmas. What's Christmas? We understand we're celebrating the birth of Christ, and but there's a backstory to that. Now, even with that, though, even with Christmas and celebrating the birth of Christ, what I wanted to get into, what is the Christmas tree? Like, why do we have a Christmas tree every year? Where did that come in? So there are certain things we do invite, and there are certain things that we do and do. But there are certain things that we do, and yeah, it does invite certain things into our lives that we don't even know. We're just being programmed. In terms of that, one of my favorite artists, Vibes Cartel. You know what I mean? One of my favorite artists, Vibes Cartel. He's incarcerated. And shortly before he got incarcerated, he came on stage in a jumpsuit, prison jumpsuit. He often sang about being locked up too, you know. I don't know if you realize that he did sing about being locked up. And then even in his book, which I think a lot of people should take the time out and read, no cap. But even in his book, he also spoke about jail, you know. Reese, me and you linked up this, me and you linked up on this Monday, yesterday, and we were listening to one of his songs called Court Case, where he was faced in a court case. He had more songs like Babylon said jail for me, then they just said bail for me. He kept singing about him being locked up. He's he never really sang about his like him being killed, but he sang about him being locked up very like often. He lie a big queen counsel, so he never worry about when shot go. And so say it, the man in jail for life. Like, did he invite that into his world? Oh, is it just coincidence?
Well, one of the things I was watching, I think it was late last week. I was watching this guy who was giving a speech at a college, and he said that you become what you're obsessed with. Says what you're
Mm-hmm.
obsessed with is what you speak about the most, and at some point you become that. So you look
Mm,
at individuals who speak about crime a lot, then you realize they turn out to be, they turn out to be quote unquote bad man, however it is. And he said his thing was because it's taking on so much of your time, you may not realize it, but it's feeding into your spirit, and that is what you appear to be obsessed with. So your body then takes that in, and you become that.
mm,
So when you look at the creative process of making a song, at some point you have to think of these lyrics, and then you go back and listen to these lyrics, and then you have to say, okay, well, I like this. This could stay. I like, all right, cool, this is a song. But then you have to
yeah,
listen to this song enough, to go out and perform it. So all the time you're gonna be saying these things over and over and over and over.
yeah,
So one of the things in his case, he may have had the lyrics for these songs, and he may not even have thought about the jail suit. He just put on the jail suit as a prop for a performance. Not really, may not even realize that he been talking about this so long that this is actually a part of who he is. That for him it's just, I put on a thing and going out. He put on a outfit that I go perform. Not realizing that it is deep within him.
mm. Yeah. You should talk about being rich, Adele. And Reese, I mean, how does this tie into like the law of attraction, right? The law of attraction is the new thought, spiritual belief that positive or negative thoughts bring positive or negative experiences into a person's life,
100%.
right? And in some cases, what tends to happen to us, we know sayings like when it rains, it pours, right? We know those sayings. And I also feel like when certain elements happen in your life, maybe it might be something unfortunate. You, a lot of the times we tend to dwell on it. And because we dwell on it, then that energy, we're now surrounded by that energy. Because we're surrounded by that energy, we're gonna attract that energy. You know what I mean? And it's a hard one to even think about. Like, you just go through something so rough, so tough, and you have to try to be positive. You know,
Hmm.
like um, you're preparing for something. They tell you, "Oh, think positive." It's not just a saying to think positive. It's you trying to attract positive energy into your world. But when they're telling you to think positive, oh, you can't think negative. If you think negative, that's it. We don't, we truly, as human beings, most of us, because I do think some people do understand how powerful the mind is, right? And we don't know the true power of the mind, the consciousness, or whatever you want to call it, the mind. We know the body. We know the body can lift a cup, right? We've seen in like science fiction and stuff, whatever the case may be, that people have like telepathic abilities. Like I could read Reese's mind, or I could make Reese hat move just by thinking about it. And then we might say, oh, that's just TV, that's just movies, that's just the mind, people meditate and they levitate off the ground. You hear of monks and stuff in certain um monasteries or whatever the case may be, but you may not have ever seen it in person, and because you haven't seen it in person, you don't believe it. But that would be coming from the mind, right? And the same thing is where with art is coming from the mind, and then you're mixing the mind with the body, and then it's just, I think the mind is what we mostly have. The body is just the flesh. The mind is what we are. So if we decide we're going to be talking about death or something ill, there you go. Your being, your person, who you are, that's what you're opening yourself to. You know?
Totally agree. Totally agree.
Yeah.
The law of attraction is real. Um, Adele says she should speak about being rich, and I've tried that. Unfortunately, it doesn't seem like that one works, but I'll keep trying. Um, but really, when you look at it, it's real error. You're totally correct. Kajal said, "The mind drives the body." I totally agree.
Yeah.
We become our thought. We become our thoughts. You know, and I think sometimes we have. Sometimes some individuals have negative thoughts. So all of us as humans have negative thoughts, especially
Mm-hmm.
when we're faced with adversity, because I think that if you then get a negative outcome, you're prepared. Some people think that okay, I was prepared for this anyway. I'm not surprised. But having a negative mindset really takes a toll on your body, takes a toll on your mind.
Does. Does.
You know. Um. So we talk. Yeah. Go ahead.
Some people might say it's stress, because you could link stress to um a hormone in the body that would have an actual effect on the body, cortisol. But, but that's us just trying to mix everything with science, right? So here's here here's one that I'm gonna put forward for like Christians, where they're saying faith. So there's no action in prayer without faith, right? You could pray and pray and pray, but if you don't believe, it's not gonna do anything for you. Isn't that if you don't have faith, it won't do anything for you? Is it really that? Is it really the prayer, or is it the faith? And you putting your body and your mind into believing, having faith that this is going to be okay. That does like bring like that does the trick. I mean, it's a tough one,
I
but
I, I don't know. That's really a tough one.
yeah, that's
Um.
a tough one.
Yeah, that's a tough one. I can dodge that
We're
one
getting
because that one
slight,
a little.
getting
Yeah,
slighted.
because it. Yeah, it's too tough. It's too tough. I think it could be a combination of things. Now, I think having faith is one thing. I think your faith may become even stronger once you actually sit in prayer. It could be that. I think
Yeah,
some people may feel confident. Some people may feel confident once they have said their prayer. Then going
they're
forward,
good.
and they feel like they're in a better position. So it could be different things. I think each person individually may have a different response. You know. So
I, I
I
can
wonder.
just use one word though. I'm gonna use one word right now.
which is
Placebo. Right? Placebo. And we should know what placebo is, right? You give the placebo effect. You can't have a drug trial without placebo. Crazy thing about it, the crazy thing about the placebo. Okay, let me give you a definition of placebo effect, right? The placebo effect is when an improvement of symptoms is is observed despite using a non-active treatment, right? It is believed to occur due to psychological factors like expectations or classical conditioning. Research has found that the placebo effect can ease things like pain, fatigue, or depression. I have seen Reese, and I've done like readings. I don't remember what the book was called, but there was one, and this all ties into life and art, right? Because, like we said, your art come from your mind, and your mind is invoking certain things onto your life. But there were a group of maids, right? There were a group of maids. Every day they would do their maid work, make the beds, vacuum, and a doctor came in and checked their pressure. When the doctor came in and checked their pressures were off. They weren't doing well. Now the doctor said to them, the work that you do every day meets, because they also said, hey, how much do you exercise? And they were like, well, we don't have time to exercise, right? But the doctor then said, but the work that you do every day is exercise that meets the minimum requirement. So now they have that programmed in them that the work that they're doing meets the requirement. They went and they checked their pressure and stuff. They were I've- like they lost weight, they started to tone up, you know what I mean? And nothing changed. They didn't change their diet, they didn't change the workload, they just changed their belief. They just believed. And then the other day, I think I was watching a video on YouTube where they were like, they stopped some bodybuilders from working out and tell them, just imagine that you're working out. And they had a 15% muscle growth just by the mind, just thinking about it. Now, if that ain't telling you that there is some truth into life imitating art, then I don't know what else. So you have the placebo effect. Science follows that. Let's not mix science with the power of God. Okay. Sometimes we don't even know if science and God is two different things, you know, because the idea of God, that's a different conversation. But um the placebo effect, you know, there's the power of prayer. Now let's go into another example. You watch Boys in the Hood, Reese?
definitely,
Boys in the Hood.
definitely. Um,
Okay, so you know the story of Boys in the Hood.
yeah.
Trying to get the actor's name. What was his name? Okay, there was
You
a
remember?
scene, a very powerful scene in Boys in the Hood, where Ricky, prominent, he was played by Morris Chestnut, right? I know Morris Chestnut. It's not Morris Chestnut who I'm gonna talk about now, but Morris Ricky. Where the heck is this name? I can't
So,
even
so
see.
the actor's name is Lloyd Avery the second,
Lloyd Lloyd Avery the second. There you go. There you
and
go.
Lloyd Avery, in Boys in the Hood, Lloyd Avery went from playing a killer on screen to being one in real life. Lloyd Avery rose to fame after pulling the trigger in the iconic scene of John Singleton's 1991 Oscar nominated classic Boys in the Hood.
Mm-hmm.
So he was the one who would have been in the red car in the back seat that had the shotgun, and he would
Yeah,
have been the one who would have shot the guy that was running in his back.
Ricky. Shot
Ricky,
Ricky.
yes, right. He had a little Jerry curl with I think his hat was backwards. Now that was a role that was written in the script. That was a script that was presented to the uh, the studios, who then went on to make the movie.
Yeah,
Prior to Boys in the Hood, Lloyd Avery had no form of a police record,
none.
none whatsoever. After Boys in the Hood, he went from a killer on screen to a killer in real life.
Yeah. You know, Lloyd Avery actually grew up in an affluent family, Like, in- like he was well off. That man had his parents had bread. They were good, you know. And they spoke about the scene, the picture, the you could look it up. Life imitates art by the Hood. They spoke about what the director wanted from that scene. And when he did that in the movie, he was a blood. And one of the things that they said was after that, he would get props on the street. Like people would say, yo, blood. Yeah, yeah. Like he would get props. He would get like recognition that he never got. Like he's brought into the fold. People like gave him actual street cred for that kill in the movie.
So, Era, just listen to this. Boys in the Hood changed Avery's life as well.
Hmm.
He got a rep. Soon after the film's release, Avery moved into the jungle. The jungle, if anybody knows about California, is a blood affiliated neighborhood in South LA, and and has where he had connections to the Black Pistol blood sets.
Yeah,
So he went from being a blood on the big screen to a blood in real life, and moving in one of the most dangerous quote unquote ghettos of South Los Angeles.
yeah,
As
yeah,
you said,
yeah.
he came from an affluent family, so he wasn't necessarily raised around this, but that lifestyle became something that engulfed him.
And that's wild. Same with the guy in BMF and the Joker, Batman. So yeah, we're gonna talk about. I kind of mentioned Heat Ledger. I kind of mentioned Heat Ledger, but I don't. I'm not tracking the one in the BMF part. Reese, you know what she talking about in BMF?
No, I honestly don't know. I haven't really paid much attention to BMF. The only thing that I know about BMF is that um, Big Meat's son is playing Big Meat, but I really don't know much about BMF.
Yeah, yeah. So Adele, if you could give us a little backstory on that BMF one, but the one in the Joker and Batman. Okay, so I don't know if you want to take that one, Reese. I think everyone knows the story of Heath Ledger, but that one was the embodiment of a character. And actors tend to do that a lot. You remember when 50 Cent lost a bunch of weight to play a cancer patient?
Yes, for a movie that went straight to video.
He went straight to video. You just like you just troll 50 Cent. Like you just troll the man completely. Like, bro, you did all of that for a movie that went straight to DVD. No, actually
Yes,
you said video. Like
yeah,
that
straight
went
to
straight to video.
Yeah,
What
shitty
you do
beast.
all
Yeah.
that for?
But with that being said, the Heath Ledger. For those who don't know Heath Ledger played Joker in one of the many Batman movies. To me, is the best Joker that has ever been played.
Hmm.
He embodied the role. He played the role in amazing fashion. The problem with it is that I think he went a little too far in the role, where he got so deep into the role that after filming and everything was done, he couldn't get out of the role. And
Hmm.
he was stuck in a situation where, in his everyday life, in his head, he was still the Joker.
That's what
Now,
happened.
yeah, that's actually a major part of it. He couldn't get the Joker out of him. Um, and all great actors really go to certain lengths to convey certain messages in their movies. And sometimes, like you said, they would embody the role like 50 Cent to the last all the weight and stuff like that.
Hmm.
But sometimes you just can't get out. And unfortunately, it seems like that's happened to Heath Ledger. And yeah,
So he couldn't sleep, right? Because one of the things
couldn't.
that he did during the Joker role was he deprived himself of sleep. And I think he was suffering from insomnia even because he wanted to enter a certain level of psychosis, putting his mind under stress, under duress. And so that when he goes in there and he acts, it's like, wow, you really believe it, right? And so I think that's how he actually died too, because he ended up overdosing on medication or whatever the case may be, that that would have was supposed to help him to sleep. uh it was a tragedy, because after coming out with such a great performance, all you want to do is see him in more. You
Yes,
actually want to see him in another role. And but it was because that performance was so great is why he's probably not here, right? If he didn't do what he did, I don't think we would be talking about the performance.
definitely.
Unfortunately, it took his life. But
Definitely.
um it's not necessarily that art imitated life, but it also showed the stress that these artists put themselves to, where he caused himself to die. And like we said, he couldn't get the joke out, probably why he couldn't sleep. No, she's saying Big Meat son got caught with a gun. He just forgot it. He just like the
Um,
man just forget he gun. Like
the,
he didn't
the,
check that he's supposed to check in he gun. He tried to carry
the,
that into TSA. It's just like the lawyers gonna deal with that one. They're just gonna get wiped up. Ain't necessarily that he's a gangster. Hey, Adele, I hope you got a gun too. If you live in America, you should have one. That's all I'm gonna say. But he probably just, man probably just forget that you need to check the gun.
uh,
Come on. Now, if he had drugs, oh shit. If that man was caught with drugs, then that would have been a whole different case. That would have been a whole different case. But it's for me. A long time ago, I started watching horror movies. Yeah, I stopped watching horror movies. I'm like, I can't deal with this horror movie thing. People could say whatever they want. They could call me coward. They could call me whatever they want. Likewise, people don't want to hear any zombie story too late in the night. Imagine you're down the road and people are telling you zombie stories, right?
I
And
had
then
to
you
walk
gotta
home.
walk, go home. You know what I mean? You ain't want to hear that. And I felt the same way about horror movies. I just felt like horror movies was it was inviting a certain spirit into my life. Like I don't know why I want pleasure in being scared. You know? That like being scared should not bring pleasure to somebody. Laughing, you know, that kind of thing is what brings pleasure. Heath Ledger was an excellent actor in his short acting span. He died from an accidental overdose, as many of the greats. Like, well, I don't know if Prince and Michael Jackson one was accidental, but I don't know. Like I said, I don't know. You know, there's too much conspiracies around those overdose. Didn't somebody get tried for Michael Jackson's overdose, by the way? Wasn't Prince a
Then
little
to the doctor had something.
yeah. And especially with Michael Jackson and Prince, both of them had some stories of owning too much masters, owning too much this, owning too much of that, whatever the case may be. That's something else, you know. But I am not watching any horror movies, and I'm not speaking about certain things. I'm not gonna have a headache and say this headache is killing me. I'm not saying that. I'm not in them talks there. I'm not in them beliefs there or anything like that. I'm not loving anybody to death either. I love everybody to life. You know, all the family and friends, you know, all the fans and supporters, love y'all to life and live long
Oh,
life. Go ahead.
anyway, we're going to take it back, right? To
Mm-hmm.
to something. We're going back all the way back to 1960. In 1960, there was a movie by the name of Psycho that was released. Now, there's a lady who acted in the movie Psycho. Her name is Janet Lee,
Mm-hmm.
and in her role in the movie, she checked into a remote motel that was run by a man who is plagued by the domination of his mother. She ultimately got stabbed multiple times in the shower. Now, you hear how simple that is? Sounds simple, right?
Yeah.
All it is, she was in a movie, checked into a motel, she got stabbed while she was in the shower. In an interview, she then goes on to say, I
Hmm.
stopped taking showers. I only take baths. When I check into a hotel, I lock the doors, lock the windows, make sure no one can get in before I even go into the bathroom. She was so terrified for the movie that she acted in that she no longer took showers, she only took baths. This was in 1960. She acted in a movie called Psycho. It's actually so funny. The movie is actually one of Alfred Hitchcock's movies. Uh, she said there are people who are disturbed and took Psycho way too serious.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, many people who are on set and who have watched the movies have reported being stalked by demons.
I ain't watching them things. Dear. No, I ain't watching them things there. Not me. um, I wanna see you went to 1960s. I wanna come more modern time, and I wanna talk about when artists have beef, especially with the whole Byron Messiah and TJ beef thing. A lot of people say, "Oh, I just hope it stays musical. I hope it, because fans now start to take this beef as real life. Like
Yes,
this ain't music anymore. This is if I see a man and swell him up with some gunshot because that what them artists and me defend me artists. That's it. So that had happened with the Gaza and Gully war, where Gaza versus Gully, Vibes Carter versus Mavado. that started bubbling over in schools and stuff. People were getting to, like, students were getting to real physical altercations. People lost their lives. It was a real, it was getting into like a real bloodbath. Unfortunately, people couldn't separate the art from the life. Um, a lot of the times too, if we could recall, I remember one time way back when Randy, down by Lime, had put a post out say he banned Dexter Dapp's song. What you call the one Country Road?
Um,
Sing
yeah,
long time.
Shower Mother Pot.
Yeah, Shabba Mother Pot, because he tied that they had a real unfortunate situation at his establishment. Uh, I don't really want to bring it back up, but he tied that to the music that was playing. When you would be in the pen, the Rose Garden, the bullpen, the famous bullpen. If you've never been in the bullpen, I'm just sorry. You know what I mean? But like Merciless broke out of jail. That they cannot play in the bullpen. Because when Merciless say Badman broke out of jail, Badman kicked up, you know, all you could do is see Samuel Fish, you know what I mean? Go over there, yo, cut off that, cut off that, cut off that, you know? No, if that's not life imitating art directly, and then we would say stuff like, "By music at power, music at word," but it's just people imitate. It's actually, yeah, they're imitating the art. They're directly imitating the art, and that's not no long imitate. That's not no, oh, this happened and then long after and over time being. That's instant. That's instant. I remember. I remember getting into a conversation with somebody when Carter starts singing 3 o'clock in the morning. You know what I mean? We murder people in a broad daylight. And then you realize, I think it's a Nevis people started it in a broad daylight. Like, nobody wait till night no more. You got people who get killed in a broad daylight. You know what I mean? That is the power of art. And that's the power that art has over life. People just need to learn how to separate the two in some cases, you would say. But it is, like we are
You know,
saying, the mind is being. Yeah, go ahead.
but the truth is, like when you listen to certain music, there can be certain vibes here, right? You might see some Bob Marley play, you might hear from music, but get them a kind of vibe over it. But some of the songs are talking about bad man business. It give you a vibe too, and not it's not a positive vibe, but it give you a vibe. You
Yeah.
know, actually you got some rap that I play, right? They call it
Mm-hmm.
they call it drill music. And you got somebody that I know that tell you when they listen to that kind of music, they got on black Air Forces and the
Mm.
shoes strap up and so because they're ready.
Mm.
You know what I mean for nobody else. But they're listening to music and the music got these lyrics in it and they internalizing these lyrics.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things. You spoke about the Gully Gaza war, right? The
Mm-hmm.
Carter Movado situation. One of the songs Movado said he will send his killers to kill somebody. Then
Mm-hmm.
turn around a couple years later, Movado actually turned around and sent his son to do a killing. His son is now in
Allegedly.
jail. His
Allegedly.
son is now in jail.
His son is in jail.
Allegedly,
Allegedly.
allegedly, yeah,
Yeah, Movado has
no,
not been convicted of anything.
he has not been
Reese
back
meant
to.
to say allegedly, but he forgot.
He also has not been back to Jamaica since either. But we not talk
Yeah,
about
that
him.
is true. We
Um,
understand that part.
but it's alleged that his son went and did the murder on his behalf. Um, but
Allegedly.
these are things out here that I think as artists and as consumers of music as well, we need to understand how to separate both. Because of course, you have to have music for everybody, and so these songs will be made. But as individuals, we have to be able to separate them and
Yeah.
understand that, you know. And that man say M16 to your jaw. That don't mean I should have an M16 and put it to your jaw.
Right. See, see, Gigi said, "Tell you allegedly, please." No, Gigi, he said allegedly. I think what happened is the audio cut out when he said allegedly, and we didn't hear it. But see, Reese Stanley said, when that song played in the pen and the galvanize from the roof was kick off. Yeah. Um, and then Marlene said, "Murderer" by Barrington Levy is her song though. But what? How Murderer go again? Barrington Levy sang Murderer
Boy,
is not
matter.
is not a gangster song.
Not really.
No, the lyrics is not a gangster song.
But it's also not a dark song either. So um I want to say that Murderer maybe he sang with him and him and Beanie.
Oh, how do you
And
feel
actually,
if you wake up
wait,
one morning and saw?
right?
Oh, so the comment comes full circle from when you say about the
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
M16. Yeah, okay.
But
Marlene, I see you. Marlene.
but we just have to understand it. Even when you look at a song like, um, we don't want to really talk bad about it, but you look at a song like Taliban. If you ever really
Yeah,
check the lyrics of Taliban, Jesus,
dark, dark, dark,
man, like
dark song.
you listen to Taliban and Doka time, man.
And dark song. That the only part in a Taliban one not so dark is da 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 da, which I think
You know,
actually was a part of its success. I kind of sum up the whole da da being songs that people could sing along to,
no,
and
that's the catchy part. That's the part that
yeah,
a chord would interact with.
yeah,
You know,
and
but
dada being
that's
actually the first word a lot of people say in their life too. So kudos to them and
yeah.
using
Big up
that.
Marlene, man. Marlene showing her she dance on the street. Marlene, big
Is
up
that man?
yourself. Yeah, Marlene said she like the virgin with Beanie. Yeah. Marlene go on
Yeah,
bad.
yeah, Marlene. Reese only say M16, but she said no. That's my favorite. That's a big song though. That's a big song.
You know,
But Reese, you don't know we're doing it in an hour. And for those who just joined, it's a short show, so feel free to go back and watch it. Not feel, just go back and watch it and listen to the thought-provoking conversation. This is Real Talk Corner. We're gonna get ready for the topics coming up at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 9 p.m. Caribbean time. Well, think it's Nevis and what's not. And you know how we go, Reese. It's been real. We love our fans.
yes.
We feel happy to be back. And stick and stay. Check for the next link. The topics is up next with Alan Powell and China Wallen. We out.
We on the corner, man. We on the corner, man. We on the corner, man. With that real talk. We on the corner, man. With that real talk.